watchers, how are y'all doing today? This is your October 2020 Tarot and Astrology Reading. First, I'll be going over some aspects and transits that are happening this month, and then I'll be getting into your reading with the cards. For anyone that's new here, I'm Sarah. This is Cancer Capricorn Guidance. I'm a Cancer Sun, Capricorn Moon, Libra Rising, and I'm here to bring you love, light, and guidance through tarot, astrology, and spirituality. In my description box, you can find my email. Feel free to reach out to me if you'd like to schedule a personal reading. You can also find my Instagram. Feel free to give me a follow on there. You can also find a couple different links to a couple different Spotify playlists I've made. I really love music and I love making playlists and sharing them with people. So if you're looking for some new music to get into or you want to know what I listen to, feel free to check those out. Alright, Taurus, let's get into some of these aspects and transits that are happening for you specifically for the month of October. On the 1st of October, you probably felt the effects of the full moon in Aries. This had a lot to do with your purpose kind of being illuminated with that full moon. It illuminates a lot. It had a lot to do with kind of like aligning with your purpose and figuring out what it is you actually want. That might have came to you in some form of like aha moment. It might have become really clear to you very suddenly what you want and what you desire and how you feel and what you want to work towards. You might have also experienced a lot of urgency when it comes to your feelings. You might have felt that Aries Mars energy of frustration and a little bit of aggression, and you might have felt this sense of like, I need to express how I feel right now. You might have felt like you may have experienced a little bit of an outburst. There was a lot of intense energy with that Aries full moon, and you probably felt the effects maybe even up until now, but I think it really sets the stage for the energy of the rest of October. I think this full moon in Aries really illuminated and made clear what it is you want, what it is you want to work towards, because on the 2nd, we have Venus entering Virgo, and that is going to set the stage for starting to ground some of those ideas and desires into practicality. Venus in Virgo is very much, you know, Virgo's a earth sign. It's a very detail-oriented and grounded and earthy, and it has a lot of practicality and pragmatism to it. So when Venus is in Virgo, I think of the love language that is acts of service. So this may be a good time to get in touch with the part of yourself that really likes giving and doing nice practical things for the people you love, or even being of service to those in need, someone that maybe you don't know or you're not close to, maybe serving your community in some way. But Venus in Virgo is also about grounding that full moon Aries energy, using that as momentum to push you forward into this Venus Virgo, where you're starting to sit down and plan and really plan out the logistics and the details of these big ideas you have and start to put them into action. On the 4th, we have Pluto going direct in Capricorn. Now, this is a big one because a lot of the outer planets have been retrograding in Capricorn, and now Pluto, which went retrograde back on April 25th of this year, it is finally going direct in Capricorn. So this is going to be a lot of settling of the dust of all the big upheavals and changes we've seen, because Pluto is that planet of death and transformation and rebirth and like big transformational changes. Pluto going direct now in Capricorn, I think we're going to start to see some things fall back in line, maybe in different ways. We're going to start to see things get put back together, and we're going to start to pick up the pieces from all of the big upheaval, big events that we've been seeing happening since April. So on the 9th of October, we have Mars in Aries, which is still in retrograde, squaring Pluto in Capricorn. So yes, so this Pluto in Capricorn is starting to move forward and get things going again, to start to restructure things in a different way. Now that we've seen all these changes happen and all these towers crumble down around us, I think we're starting to put things back into motion and back into gear in new ways, new effective ways, more pragmatic and practical ways with that Capricorn. But with the Mars in Aries still retrograding, it's gonna meet Pluto and Capricorn head on with a square, and it's gonna cause a lot of tension because Pluto and Capricorn is really gonna want to move forward slowly and steadily and really carefully and intentionally, while Mars in Aries retrograding is going to want to go impulsively, kind of make brash decisions. And with that Mars retrograde in Aries, it's still a lot of that energy where we're trying to move forward, we're trying to make progress, but we're seeing a lot of setbacks and obstacles in our motivation, in our progress forward. So Taurus, this month there's a lot of Earth energy happening actually, especially because all of these outer planets have gone direct or are going to go direct in the sign of Capricorn, and also some Virgo energy still in there. So on the 11th and the 15th of October, we have the Sun in Libra squaring Jupiter in Capricorn, and the Sun in Libra squaring Pluto in Capricorn. So that Sun in Libra, that's a lot of Venusian energy. Your sign of Taurus is also ruled by Venus, so a lot of Libra-Taurus things are pretty similar. With the Sun in Libra, it really is about the ego, the Sun, and it's in Libra, so it wants to stay in that place of comfort and stability, and it likes that balance and harmony of how things are right now. But because Jupiter in Capricorn and Pluto in Capricorn are going direct, they're really going to want to start to grow, expand, change, transform on a personal level and a bigger society level. We really want to start to see these changes happen. We want to start to put things into action and to move forward and to, cause that discomfort that these big changes require, that this growing requires. But that Sun in Libra really wants to stay in that place of comfort and ego and stability. But at the end of the day, I think we all know that in order to change, discomfort is required of us. It's necessary to cause that bit of disruption, to step out of our comfort zone and to go into these places where we know we have to grow. We know that we have to put in the work. We know that we have to take these steps forward, even if it's uncomfortable and difficult. We know that that is important in the long run. Capricorn is about that long term, and these outer planets are about that long term. What is going to benefit you in the long term in terms of how we need to change and grow and move forward, even if it causes that discomfort for the time being? But on the 13th, of course, we have Mercury going retrograde in Scorpio. So again, like most Mercury retrogrades, you'll experience hiccups and mishaps in travel, communication, technology, things of that nature. But specifically with it being in Scorpio, I think there's going to be a lot of deep, buried away, suppressed things in terms of like emotionally, but also, society-wise, anything that's been hidden. I think there's going to be a lot of things coming up, coming to the surface, being revealed. Scorpio is that really deep, mysterious, secretive sign, and I think there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be even more of that upheaval, like the Pluto energy. There's going to be a lot of things coming to the light that we need to realize, a lot of things being revealed to us. I think it's going to have some things to do with emotional stuff too, because Scorpio is a water sign. It's a very intuitive sign. I think there's going to be a lot that comes up in terms of stuff from your past that hasn't been fully healed within you. Maybe there's some people from your past coming back that have to do with some pains that were caused that have not been fully fleshed out and healed and resolved. Things like that may come back up. But remember to lean into all these energies, lean into these things coming back to us so that we can finally work through them and purge them and move on. Because if we avoid it, if we resist it in some way, it's going to bite us even harder and it's going to blow up in our face. So it's really important to lean into this energy, trust your instinctive Scorpio intuitive nature, and kind of let these things happen and embrace these heavy feelings so that we can learn from them and purge them out of us and move on from it. On the 16th of October, we have a new moon in Libra. This is going to be really great for you, Taurus. This is going to be a really good time to bring in that much needed balance and harmony and stability into our internal selves. The moon is really about our internal selves that we coddle, and I think this is a good time to clear out some unnecessary energy, anything that's making us feel imbalanced or not in harmony, not in alignment within ourselves. To clear out that energy and make space for new things to come in. That new moon is really about clearing out energy, making space for new things, new opportunities, new ideas, new people to come in for us. I think it's also really going to be about bringing in that inner balance. I think that's going to be a really important thing, especially with all the chaos of this year and, following into the end of this year and into next year. There's a lot of external chaos that I think bringing in some internal balance will really help us be able to better handle this outside external chaos that is happening around us. If our inner self is good and calm and at peace, then we can better handle these things going on around us. On the 18th of October, we have the Sun in Libra squaring Saturn in Capricorn. Again, with this Sun in Libra squaring one of these outer planets in Capricorn, I think this is really going to be important for you, especially in terms of Saturn energy, like the whole how am I working towards my goals? How am I putting in that long-term planning and effort in terms of reaching these goals I have set for myself? With Saturn in Capricorn, it's really going to want to move really slowly, pragmatically, consistently, really intentionally, and making really informed decisions. Capricorn is very much about that energy. With the Sun in Libra, again, it's going to want to stay in that place of ego, like I'm comfortable here, I'm fine here. What can I do where I don't have to put in a ton of work to get what I want? But that Saturn in Capricorn is really going to challenge you. You got to do the dirty work, and you got to figure out what that dirty work is so that you can start to do it, so that you can start to be on the right path to reach those goals that you have set for yourself. On the 21st, we have Venus in Virgo trine Pluto in Capricorn. So I think this is going to be a good one for you, Taurus, because with that Earth energy, with Virgo and Capricorn, this is going to bring a lot of good luck and new ideas, new information that may come in for you. I think this is going to be about anything Venusian, like relationships, love, money, anything that you've been pursuing in that area and trying to ground. With this Pluto in Capricorn, I think you're going to start to see some changes in that aspect, and I think it's going to start to shift from casual to serious if it's a relationship, or like kind of a passive side income or side hustle that you've been putting a lot of energy into. You might start to see a return on that. You might start to see some income from that, or some progress, or little milestones of success with that. That Venus and Virgo energy is really about the working hard, and the Pluto in Capricorn trining it is really going to reward you with some positive changes that are very practical and stable, that bring you in some even more stability. And then of course on the 22nd of October we have the Sun entering Scorpio. This is going to be a lot of the same things as a Scorpio Mercury retrograde. There's going to be a lot of intensity, a lot of heavy emotions, but I think this is also a really good time to tap into that perceptive, intuitive part of yourself like a Scorpio would. I think this is a good time to get real about how you feel, and doing a lot of introspection to figure out and understand how you feel, but also to figure out and understand how other people feel, to use that perceptive quality to have a better understanding of the people around you. Again, I think also this is going to be a lot about anything that's been suppressed or hidden within you or around you or with other people. A lot of stuff like that I think is going to be coming to the surface whether you want it to or not. So anything that you've been kind of holding in or holding on to a little bit too tightly, now is a really good time to let this go. Again, with this and a few other aspects that are happening, I think there's going to be a lot of letting go and release and clearing out of old energies, because there's going to be a lot of newness that is coming in for us at the end of 2020 and into 2021. I know that there's been a lot of tower moments, a lot of destruction, a lot of things crumbling down around us and shifting and changing and getting all kinds of fucked up. I understand that, but I think a lot of these last few months, last few weeks of 2020 is really going to be about letting go of anything that's not serving you, letting go of anything from the past that's not helping you out anymore, letting go of any feelings that you don't want to hold on to anymore. A lot of release and letting go. On the 27th, we have Venus entering Libra. Of course, Venus is at home in Libra, and of course, Venus also rules Taurus. So this is a really good time to get in touch with those Venusian things, the beauty, the luxury, the romance, the love, the money, the hobbies, the values, whatever. This is a really good time to splurge on yourself, do something nice for yourself, get really romantic with your partners and show them how much you love them through like a super romantic gesture, to spend that extra dollar on yourself on something nice, to bring some more flow and harmony back into your spaces, your bedroom, whatever. Really internalize and put into action a lot of that Venusian Libra energy to bring some harmony and balance and peace and beauty into your spaces, into your relationships, into your relationship with money, because I think this is going to set the stage for some balance and stability that we can bring in. Again, with that Libra energy is really going to help us keep and stay in balance so that we can better handle the outside chaos around us. And then finally, on the 31st, on Halloween, we have the second full moon of the month, which is very rare. This is a blue moon, and this full moon is in Taurus. This is going to be a lot about making us think about what makes us feel safe and secure, what brings us a lot of security and stability, what things like that serve us and are actually helping us and are actually bringing us stability, and then what things are we kind of holding on to a little bit too tightly that we don't need anymore, and they're actually not bringing us stability and security. Things that we can actually start to let go of because they're not really serving us anymore. Like I said, a lot of this month and into the rest of 2020 is going to be about letting go of things that don't serve us, don't stabilize us, don't bring us joy or happiness, don't serve us in the long run of what we're trying to do and the goals we're trying to reach. I think this full moon in Taurus is really going to be about what makes you feel safe, getting in touch with that instinctive nature of, okay, my gut is telling me this is right or wrong. My gut is telling me this is good or bad. Really get in touch with that part of yourself and trust that part of yourself. This is also a good time to get in touch with your physical world and the physical part of yourself. This is a good time to really ground yourself through your emotional self. With that moon, it's about your internal emotional self, and this may be a good time to understand and get in touch with what makes you really feel grounded and secure and stable, so that you can use that energy again to feel stable despite the chaos that is happening around us. All right, Taurus, that was your astrological aspect and transit breakdown for the month. I hope that helped you a little bit. I hope that those will be some things you're looking out for in terms of paying attention to some energy shifts that are happening. And I also hope that it sets the stage for this reading to kind of set out some of the energies that might be coming up for you in this reading. is windy. So Taurus, how have y'all been doing? Have y'all been surviving? I feel like Taurus has been keeping it low key. I don't know what's up. They've just been like, I feel like they've been kind of maybe stressed out, and so they kind of, Taurus kind of bury themselves away when they're not feeling great, either physically or mentally. I think Taurus, you're going through a bit of a slowdown period right now where, like, with that Mars retrograde, I think you're really feeling the stagnancy. I think you're really feeling the, well, I'm putting in all this work, but all I feel is tired and I feel like shit and I'm not really seeing any positive results from it. I feel like Taurus have been keeping their head down and putting in a lot of work, but also feeling really burnt out, really exhausted and kind of like defeated, like, whatever, I'll just keep going, I'll just keep doing this. Like, I don't know if Taurus sees yet what changes they need to make in order to feel a bit more like they're actually making progress. I think you're just feeling kind of defeated, so you're just kind of staying in the place that you're at and just, you're keeping going at that level or whatever method you're using. But you haven't come to terms with yet what changes you need to make in order to start to feel a little bit more motivated, or that you're actually making progress with what you're doing, or maybe just what you're doing in general. You haven't come to terms with the fact that it's not what you want to be doing. I think you're going to be realizing that really soon. Like, you've been doing this thing for a while, whatever it is, job or a hobby or a project that you're working on, and you're like, well, it's not really taking me anywhere, and I'm not sure why, and I don't know if I want to change up my method, but I think what might be it is that you need to change what you're doing altogether. I think you're not realizing yet that this thing that you're doing, you just don't feel passionate about it anymore. You don't feel that drive to do it anymore. I think that might be something that you're coming to realization with soon, maybe with the full moon, maybe with the new moon. And I feel you're feeling a lot of setbacks in terms of that, and I think you may be coming to some understanding soon of what you need to do differently, or just even that whatever you're doing now is just not what you're supposed to be doing, because it's not what you truly love and are passionate about, at least not anymore. This might be a really good time to start to shift into a new line of work or a new project or a new direction for this, whatever it is you're working on or working towards. All right, Taurus, let's get into this. I think Taurus is just such a committal, like, loyal sign that, like, once they commit to something, they're just all in, and they forget that if they lose interest or passion for something, that they can go. Like, they don't have to stay there, but Taurus is so committal that they're like, well, I committed to this, so I gotta stay here now, and it's just easier for me to stay here. But I think Taurus is going to be coming to a realization that with these planets, a lot of planets going retrograde, and soon at the end of this year, a lot of planets are going direct. I think you're going to be coming to terms with the fact that it's time to make some changes, and that whatever you're doing right now isn't necessarily what you want to be doing anymore, and it might be time to start to shift into something new. That's what I'm getting. Yeah. All right, any messages for Taurus? Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Mercury, Mars, whatever placements you may have in your chart, whatever energy you've been fucking with. Wow. Oh, yes. Wow. We have the Hangman reverse, the Ace of Swords, and the Eight of Wands. I'm seeing that you're finally releasing yourself from something that you've been stuck in. You have some kind of moment of clarity, some mental clarity of, like, I know what to do, or I understand this now, or I see it differently now. That Hangman reverse is also like seeing things from a different perspective. And I think that's what is getting you to get out of this stuck period. It's like you have this sudden realization, or you have a new idea, some new communication comes in, and then it happens really quickly. You're very quickly going to move out of this. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'm seeing that right away. Yep. Even more, Eight of Swords reverse, releasing yourself from these negative thought patterns, these negative cycles, these self-restrictions. Too many. Any other messages for Taurus for the month of October 2020? Any other messages for Taurus. One more card for Taurus. Oh yes, Taurus, Taurus, Taurus. All right, let's get into this. So for the overall energy, you have the Five of Wands reverse. This says a lot about some kind of internal conflict that you're dealing with right now. I think you feel a lot of internal struggle, and it's like two or more parts of you are like fighting within you, like different ideas or different desires are battling it out within you, and you don't know what's going on. You just feel kind of burnt out and confused. There's a lot going on the inside, and I feel like you're not showing it on the outside. Like there's so much going on in your head or like internally when it comes to like motivation or desire or passion. There's just like a lot of internal conflict, and you're not necessarily showing it on the outside. Like I don't think anyone knows that you're kind of dealing with this internally. But this internal conflict, I feel like it really comes from a place of the wands, of passion, of desire, of motivation, of what you really care about, what you're really into, what you're working toward, your energy levels. There's some kind of internal conflict that is really tripping you up because it feels like you have to make a decision of some sort, or maybe it is that you're really losing interest in something that you were once really, really passionate about, and you're starting to lose that. And it feels like an internal conflict of like, do I move on from this? Do I leave this behind? Do I change direction? Maybe you've already put a lot of time and energy and investment of some sort into whatever it is you're currently doing, and you're feeling really afraid to step away from that and move into a new direction. Maybe you're just really comfortable at the job that you're at and you don't want to leave that, or you kind of set out to study something and you're kind of losing interest in it the more that you study it, and you kind of want to change career paths. Even if you're just working on a project of some sort, like a personal project or something within you, like a personal thing that you've been working really hard on, like a habit or, growing and changing within yourself, there's a lot of internal conflict. There's something that you're wrestling with, and it's really beating you up, where you're like, what do I choose? What do I go towards? What am I passionate about? What do I care about? What do I love? What do I want to do? Who do I want to be? It may be that there's like options in front of you that you're struggling with, like you don't know which direction to go in, or just in general, you're like, I don't know who I am or what I want to do, and it's tripping me up. I don't know if this thing that I've put all my time into is what I want anymore, and I think that's the source of the internal conflict. You're like fighting with yourself in your head. You're like, but I'm already here. I've already put in all this time. Why don't I just keep doing it? And Taurus is such a person that does that. But it's like something's pulling you towards something else, but you feel so conflicted about staying or going. It could even be relationship-wise too. There's a lot of internal conflict of like, should I stay with this person or go? Is this person even what I want anymore? With the Hangman reverse, I definitely think that you're finally starting to see things in a new light. You're starting to finally see things in a new perspective. It's like you were hanging upside down and feeling so stuck for the longest time, but now you feel that, okay, I'm here. I feel stuck. What do I do? What do I see? I'm hanging here upside down and I feel so stuck. Like I can't get out of this position. Okay, what do I see? I'm looking at things in a different perspective than if I was upright. I'm looking around me, trying to get clues, trying to get inspiration. There's like a lot that you're like coming to realization of, oh, things look very different from down here. What can I do differently? How can I move out of this? How can I escape from this trap that I feel trapped in? I feel stuck. But I think you're starting to finally see things differently. And I think you're starting to finally release yourself from this stuckness, from this stagnancy that you've been feeling. A lot of these retrogrades, a lot of this, especially those outer planets in Capricorn, those retrogrades really screwed a lot of people up, really tripped a lot of people up. I think you've been really feeling that stagnancy of the Mars retrograde. But I think you're finally starting to release yourself from that. And I think you are doing that through some kind of mental clarity that you're receiving, some kind of new communication that you're receiving. You may be coming into a new idea or a new source of inspiration for something. You may be just getting new ideas or having new ideas of some sort where you're finally coming to realizations. You're like, oh, I can unstick myself from this. I can get out of this. You're kind of coming to realizations about why you've been stuck here and why you feel like you're not making progress with this thing. You're like finally having some clarity around why you've been stuck here and why you're not moving forward with this. Yeah. I'm going to get a clarification for the Ace of Swords and see if there's something specific that triggers this moment of clarity. Clarification for the Ace of Swords. Is there an event or moment that causes this for Taurus? Clarification for the Ace of Swords for Taurus. The Chariot. Yeah, I think whatever it is, it's either that you start to move again, you release yourself from this and you say, you know what, I'm going to move forward. I'm going to push forward. I'm going to take my energy. I'm going to take my motivation. This is Cancer energy, if that means anything to you. I'm going to take this energy and I'm going to start to move. And when I start to move, maybe when I'm moving, I'll start to see the things that I care about. I'll start to see inspiration. I'll start to see new ideas. I'll start to gain even more momentum from that movement. I think you're realizing that you need to move in order to get out of this stagnancy. I know that sounds way too oversimplified, but you've been feeling so stuck. And I think it's because it's gotten to a point where you're feeling so stuck that you're not even moving anymore, or you're not even trying to. But I think your moment of clarity is going to come from this realization that, oh, I need to move in order to get the ball rolling. Like, movement can't come from nothing. I have to take that first step. I have to get the momentum going so that I can keep the ball rolling. And that's going to give you your moment of clarity. That's going to give you your new inspiration and your new ideas. Or the other way around, where you start to move and that gives you your clarity, your inspiration. Or your clarity and inspiration comes from when you start to move. That's kind of the same thing. I don't know why I said that. But yeah, I think you're starting to move and you're starting to get new ideas and you're like, okay, I'm moving now. I'm coming out of that place of stuckness. Let me look around me. I am seeing inspiration. I'm seeing new ideas. I'm seeing things that I could potentially be really passionate about. I'm seeing things that I'm like good at and like other ways of doing things, other career paths for me. I think if you've been feeling really stuck in your study or career, you're going to start to see that there are other options for you out there, and maybe options in which that you don't have to completely change direction. Maybe just different ways to use your skills that you've already been working on, to use the passion that you already have for this thing and just put it in a different area. Take everything you've learned so far already and just kind of shift it and put it in a different area. You don't have to completely change direction in life, like totally. I think you're starting to realize that there's a lot you can do with the knowledge and skills and investments that you've already made. I think you're going to have a lot of clarity surrounding that. And I think whatever it is, it's going to come in really fast. I think once you start to get the ball rolling and you start moving and you start having this mental clarity, I think things are going to pick up for you really quickly. Whether this is a continuation of the motivation that you've been experiencing, where you start to feel good again, you start to feel like you're moving again and things are kind of moving along and things are coming in quickly. This could also have to do with some communication or information coming in for you. This could also have to do with travel. Whatever it is, it's like this triggered like domino effect. Like you unstick yourself. All you have to do is take that first step and start moving. When you do, you unstick yourself. And then you have all this clarity and this realization and this new inspiration and new ideas. And then all of a sudden that begets itself into even more passion and energy and movement forward. This one is really self-explanatory. There's a lot of wands here, and it feels like a lot of like back and forth, like stuck, unstuck, stuck. But I think that you're really starting to move forward and gain a lot of momentum. And I think that things are going to be changing really quickly for you, or coming in really quickly for you, or you're going to start to change course and fall into this new path really easily, a lot more easily than you expected. And I think that's going to ease a lot of this internal conflict that you're having about, well, I don't know how to set up on this new path. I don't know if I should do that. But I think once you do take that first step and start to go on this new path, you're going to realize how easy it was after all, and that you didn't have all that much to be so conflicted and scared about. I think once you start moving down this new direction, you're going to see how naturally it comes to you, how easily it comes to you, how quickly it comes to you. And I think it's a matter of taking what you already know, taking the skills you've already gained, taking the investments that you've already made and kind of just picking them up and shifting them to a different area and really I think when you do that, it's gonna like unleash all of this energy and motivation that's been kind of stuck inside you for a while now. I think that also could have something to do with the Five of Wands reverse, where it's like there's this energy that's stuck inside of you, and it's a lot of like conflict and tension and chaos like within you, and you haven't figured out how to put it outward yet. You haven't figured out how to kind of convert it into actual motivation and energy where you're actually doing things and being productive, or actually moving towards a goal. I think there's so much going on within you that you haven't been able to kind of put it outward and start doing something with this energy. I think it's been a lot of internal mental energy that's just left you feeling stressed out and burnt out, where you're not actually putting it into anything. But I think with this coming unstuck, this movement forward, like everything's going to happen really quickly, and things are going to fall in line really quickly. Things are going to fall in line really quickly for you, and you're going to see how naturally it's all coming to you. Because I think you were kind of meant for this new path all along, and I think now is just the time that you are realizing it and finally starting to take steps towards it. With this Eight of Swords reversed too, I think this is all part of the domino effect too. Like once you really get moving and you have this clarity, I think all of these things before it are leading up to this moment of you're finally releasing yourself from a negative cycle. You're finally releasing yourself from negative thought patterns and really self-restricting behavior and thought patterns that have kept you stuck in this place. I'm not one to blame people for the situations in which they're in, but there's a lot of times where people fail to see and take accountability for where they have contributed to their problem, ways in which they have kept themselves stuck in this place. I think there was, for a long time, you were just in a place of like not feeling good about yourself, not feeling confident enough to go after this thing that you want, not feeling confident because you don't know what it is you want, and feeling like you can't. Like this card is very much I couldn't, I can't, but you're finally starting to release yourself from that. You're finally starting to say, I can do this, and I know that because I'm starting it, and look how easy it's already coming to me. Look how fun this is. Look how passionate I am about this. Like, I can do this. Why did I ever tell myself I couldn't? Why did I tell myself for so long that this transition was going to be so hard, when all it took was me finally getting real with myself about what it is I'm actually passionate about, what it is I actually want to pursue, and then just doing it. And once I start to do that, I see how good this is for me. I see how much I thrive at this. I think, Taurus, you're really going to be coming into what it is you're supposed to be doing. I think that really is what it's about. And for a long time, for the longest time, it was you keeping yourself from doing that because you always told yourself that you can't, or you couldn't, or that it was going to be too hard, or that you were stuck in this place and you can't move out of it. And you already chose this, so you kind of have to commit to it now, and you can't change direction. But I think you're realizing that all of that was just bullshit you were telling yourself to keep yourself from pursuing what it is you actually want to do, what it is you're actually passionate about, what it is you're actually really good at. And I think it took a matter of seeing things differently, from a different perspective, to realize that it's not this giant, ginormous, totally life-changing shift. It's taking what you already know, what you already have, what you're already passionate about, and just kind of changing direction a little bit and going into a slightly different area with it, taking your skills a little bit elsewhere. And with this Seven of Wands, I feel like there may be still some resistance. There may be still some resistance to get on this new path. There may be still some defensiveness or fighting, like you have to work really, 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 really hard to do this. And maybe that's true. That may be true. You may have to make some sacrifices, pull some strings, cut some ties, work a little overtime, do something a little harder, grind a little extra harder at this until you can do this full time. I think there's going to be a little bit of struggle, and I think that is what kept you in this place of stagnancy for a long time. You were fearful and hesitant to have to face this struggle a little bit. Like, you knew it's going to be hard work, and you know that it is going to be hard work, and you know that you really have to keep your feet firmly planted in the ground and really work hard to upkeep this new path that you set on. Maybe you really want to start a new habit. You really wanted to start something new, and it's going to take a lot of energy to really stay in this new place of momentum. Like, you may be feeling a lot of momentum right now, and it feels really good, and the momentum is begetting more momentum, and you feel really motivated, like you're moving forward at great strides. But I think you know that This beginning part is the hardest part, and you might have to put in a little extra oomph to keep yourself going in the beginning, because it's really easy to fall out of the habit at the beginning of forming the habit. But if this is a new habit you're trying to really stick to, I think you know that it's going to take a little bit of exertion to really stick to it. But also, this may have to do with you having to defend to others why you did this, why you're switching gears, why you're changing directions, why you're following this new path. This might have to do with you feeling like you have to be defensive, or like explain to other people that this is what you're actually passionate about and this is what you actually want to do. Maybe you're facing some judgment from your peers or your family, but you're like, no, this is what I'm good at, this is what I want to do, this is what I'm passionate about, and this is the path that I'm following. And I want to remind you that you don't really have anything to prove to anyone but yourself. And if it's making you happy and this is what you really want to do, then that's all that matters. And there's no need to be super defensive. I think the hardest part is the work in the beginning and getting that stuff off the ground, taking those first steps, really starting and getting that momentum going, releasing yourself from that stagnancy. Those are the hardest steps. That's the hardest part. And I think you might feel like you have to be like this at the beginning a little bit, but again, I think you're going to be surprised at how easily and quickly and naturally this all comes to you. It just took a few simple decisions and a few simple changes. And I think you're not going to have to stay in, if you do get into this energy, I don't think that you're going to have to stay there very long, where you have to like be defensive and work super hard and fight super hard to keep this. I think it's going to come a lot easier to you than you think, because guess what? It's leading to the Queen of Pentacles. Whatever you're doing, whatever shift you're making, you're doing it because it's for yourself. You're doing it to nurture yourself, to take care of yourself, to provide for yourself, to provide abundance for yourself, to reach your goals, to reach success, to have it all. Your Taurus are like that person that has their shit together. They really, Taurus have this weird, sometimes people have this weird misperception of Taurus is that they don't work as hard and that they're kind of lazy. No. Taurus work really hard. They're just very careful about the decisions they make and what they're putting their energy into. They're very decisive and picky about what they're going to decide to put their energy into, and they're not going to start to go after something until they know for sure that it's going to have a return on the investment. I think for a long time you were stuck in that place of stagnancy because you didn't want to make a move yet, because you weren't sure what move to make. And you needed to really take the time to have that discernment of like, okay, is this what I really want to do? Is this the path that I want to go down? And then once you do take that first step, you're going to realize how easy it's all coming to you, how this was really meant for you, how you were really meant to go down this path. And that momentum is going to push you even further and give you even more energy, and you're going to feel so good about it, and you're going to be releasing a lot of the self-doubt and the negative self-talk that was keeping you from doing this. And you're going to work really hard at it, and guess what? It's going to have a really amazing outcome, because it's all for you. You did this for you. You're doing this to be able to have a better life, to be able to provide for yourself, to create abundance for yourself, to be able to nurture yourself, and maybe even eventually be able to nurture others. Maybe you're a mother and you really want to do this for your family. You're making this career change because it's what you're passionate about. There's a lot of wands here, but it's also to provide for others and to provide for yourself. But it's really going to bring in a lot of stability and success for you. And I think for a long time it was rough because it was like all these wands here. It's like, it's what I'm passionate about, but is it going to bring me the stability that I need? Is it going to bring me the money and the income and the stability that I need? But I think it really is, and I think you're going to see that really soon. All right, Taurus, I'm going to pull 3 cards of advice for you. 3 cards of advice for Taurus regarding this spread. 2 more cards of advice for Taurus regarding this spread. Two more cards of advice for Taurus regarding this spread. Taurus, we have the King of Wands, the Hermit, and the 8 of Pentacles reversed. So I think with the King of Wands, I think this is reminding you to step into your confidence, to step into your social power, to remind yourself that you are the controller and the leader and the boss of your own life. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. So the decisions that you're making, they should be for you. And this is reminding you to continue to make decisions for you. To do what makes you feel confident and good and in power and in control. To do what makes you feel successful. To do what makes you feel like, you know, passionate to talk with other people about. I think the King of Wands is a little bit like clout, but in a good way, where it's like, yeah, this is what I do for a living and I really love it and I'm really passionate about it and I'd love to talk to you about it. I think the King of Wands is like reminding you to be really confident in who you are and what you do, because if you're taking the courage to change direction of your career or your path to go pursue something else, that must mean that that thing was so important to you that you had to completely change direction, and that you should be proud of that and confident in that. And to use your social power to help you even more towards whatever it is you're trying to do. With the Hermit, I think this is reminding you to take some time for yourself and to be prepared for the journey to be a little bit lonely. I think there's definitely some energy in the cards of like, I'm worried about what other people think. But I think this is really reminding you that if this is for you, this may be a path that you're going down to really do this for yourself and get in touch with yourself. This may be a journey that you're going down. You stepping foot on this path is going to be a journey that you go down of self-discovery. I think there's going to be a lot of growth and self-awareness that comes from this. Either this transition into this new path or this new path itself. There's going to be a lot of realization about who you are. There's going to be a lot of self-introspection. Like, you're going to go on this journey and it's going to provide you with a lot of solitude. Maybe it may get a little lonely. You may have to do this on your own in some capacity, but I think it's going to teach you a lot about yourself, and that is what is important. And I think this is reminding you to be okay with it getting a little lonely, because this is all meant to teach you a lot about yourself. And this path that you're going down is going to be, it's going to provide a lot of self-growth. So I think it's really important that you stick to this and not worry what other people are thinking about you. And remember that you're doing this for yourself. And that is the most amazing thing you can do, is to make decisions for yourself and make really big life changes for the benefit of yourself in the long term. And I think this path that you're going down is going to, it might be a bit of solitude, but I think it's going to teach you a lot about yourself, and it's going to help you learn about yourself, and it's going to be a lot about a journey of self-discovery. You're discovering what it is you're passionate about, what it is you're good at, and I think you're going to gain a lot of knowledge about who you are as a person. And with the Eight of Pentacles reversed, I think this is reminding you to not get tripped up in the little tiny details of the day-to-day of the working of it. I think that you're setting out on this new path and there's going to be a lot to do. There's going to be a lot of factors involved in this, but I think this is reminding you to not overwork yourself and to not spread yourself too thin, doing too many silly little tasks that aren't actually putting you on the right path forward. I think you may be getting tripped up in the misdirected activity, the misdirected effort and investment. I think you may run into something soon or down the line where you're faced with, okay, I'm doing this, but it feels really pointless because it's not actually putting me towards what I want to do. It may feel like a lot of busy work and a lot of, work that's being put into something that isn't having tangible results, a lot of misdirected activity. But I think it's reminding you that that might be an important step in this journey, or not to trip yourself up over all the little details and all the little things you need to do, but to remember the big picture of like, this little tiny activity feels really pointless, but it's important in the long term, the big picture. Like, you're like, oh, fuck this stupid little school assignment, but you're like, no, this is important because I need to pass this class. This class is important because I need it for my degree. This degree is important because I need it for this course of career that I want to go on. I think this is asking you to remember the big picture and not get tripped up in all the little day-to-day stuff, and not to overwork yourself in those little details. They are important, but they are not everything. And at the end of the day, they make up the bigger picture of it all. I think this is also reminding you to keep working on yourself, keep putting in that work to develop your skill set as a person, your skill set as what you want to do in the career that you're moving towards, or the project or passion that you're moving towards. This is reminding you to always constantly be building yourself up, always constantly be learning new skills and building up those skills within yourself so that you can really use them. Again, like I said earlier, like I think you were fearful that there was a lot of skills that you learn that you won't be able to use in a different area, but I think that's not true at all. I think that's actually the opposite. Like there's a lot that you already know that you can apply to this new thing that you're doing, and I think that's what it's about, like to always continue to work on yourself, always continue to develop those parts of yourself skill wise, but also like, you know, personal self, like always continue to develop yourself, because this journey itself is going to be about a lot of self-development and self-realization and self-awareness and self-discovery. And I think it's all going to be really important for you to stay on this path, because in the end it's really for you, and it's gonna help you be a better, stronger, wiser, smarter, harder working person. And I think these first steps are the hardest, but it's gonna be really, really worth it. It's gonna be really worth it in the end. All right, Taurus, I'm going to pull one last oracle card for you. This is the I Am Everything deck. It is a bunch of cute little affirmations, and it's really simple design. And I think it'll be a nice way to finish off and tie off this reading for you. One last message for Taurus regarding this spread. One last message for Taurus. One last message for Taurus regarding this. Oh. I am alive. I honor my life by letting go, dancing, singing, and feeling the fullness of my joyful energy. I am my true self when I am having fun. I am alive. Taurus, this is beautiful. I think this is reminding you that you're in a stuck place so long that you just weren't enjoying yourself there and you weren't happy there anymore. And now that you're moving into a new path of something that you're really truly passionate about, you're going to start to feel this like sense of aliveness again, this sense of joy. I think for a while you got lost in whatever you were doing and you were feeling so stuck because you didn't care about it as much anymore, and it wasn't bringing you the kind of fulfillment and joy that you really need and want, just like everybody else. And now that you're moving into this new period of a new path that you're stepping down, of something that you really want to do, a change of course, something that you're going to start to work really hard towards, it's something that you really want, it's going to make you feel really joyful and alive again. I think it's going to make you remember that, like, you know, work is work, but the things that we do, like our purpose in life, the things that we do on this planet, it can be fun. It can be something that we're really, really passionate about and care about the cause of. And I think you're realizing that this path that you're going down was meant for you all along, because it's what makes you feel really, truly happy and fulfilled and alive. Taurus, that is all I have for you today. I really hope you enjoyed this reading. I hope that you resonated with this in some way. If you did, please leave comments down below. I'd love to hear about it. Again, in my description box, you can find my email. Please feel free to reach out to me if you'd like to schedule a personal reading. You can also find my Instagram. Feel free to give me a follow. You can also find a couple different links to a couple different Spotify playlists. Feel free to check those out. Taurus, this was really beautiful. I loved these messages. I hope you enjoyed them too. I loved doing this reading for you. I hope you survived this Mars retrograde in Aries. I hope you survived this Mercury retrograde in Scorpio. You will be just fine, I promise. Just set out on this path and do what you really love. It will bring you the fulfillment that you've been searching for. And I hope you have a wonderful Libra and Scorpio season, and I will see you in the next reading. Thank you so much for watching.